I'm Juan Manibusan. Juan is Juan, Manibusan. And I'm originally from Guam, Guam, the island of Guam in the Pacific. I joined the Army in 1950 in September and went from there to Fort Ord, California for my basic training. I had joined the Army because I heard that the war was going on, and a bunch of my friends were getting involved and they getting ready to leave, and they grabbed me around and said, "Let's go." So I went, and there, here I am. I'm in the United States Army. So I joined the Army right then, and then from there we went to Fort Ord, California for my basic training. After basic training, of course, we were packaged up to go to Korea. But before that, I went to North Carolina for my leadership school at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I took a PT instructor's course, and from there I went to the 82nd Airborne to do my practical application with a physical training program. After that school, I went back to Fort Ord to prepare for my tour to Korea. Up on or about May of 51, 52, I was en route to Korea. We were packaged up as a company, but then by the time we got to Incheon, we were broken up because a lot of units were missing people, so they had to use some of our people that were in our package as a filler to fuel the unit that was being shot at pretty bad. Anyway, my assignment in Korea was to the 2nd Infantry Division. I reported to headquarters and headquarters company of the 3rd Battalion, 9th Infantry Regiment, which is a Manchu regiment. And from there we were organized to form a ranger platoon, and we had a platoon leader by the name of Maynard B. Johnson, a West Pointer, top class, who was shot at our first and second patrol. He was shot at after the Rat of Old Boldy in Korea. And I got shot up in the leg and my back. The lieutenant got shot in the forehead, fell right on me. I was being utilized as his radio person because the radio man had been killed. So I grabbed the radio and I followed the lieutenant around. The lieutenant got shot. He fell right on my shoulder. I reported to talk to the 2nd Infantry Division. At that time, Major Rogers, this is Bernard Rogers, 4-star, later on became the Chief of Staff. I informed him that we had been hit and we'd been shot pretty bad, and our platoon leader had been killed, and that we're trying to find our way home, trying to find our way to evacuate. As I look around, really I was the only one left that move around, so I crawl over to the bunker and I call on the people in the bunker. There was one alive. I went down and found out who he was. His name was Jose Fejoren. He is from the island of Guam. And so I told Joe that I would give him a hand, I'll see if I could get him out of that bunker. I climbed up to the bunker and I went upside and I told him to hold my neck, grab me by the neck, and I started backing away from the bunker. As I did that, he came up on the top of that bunker.
And you were doing this while you were injured?
I was already injured. He was injured bad. He lost a leg. And we went across this, as I pulled him out, I said, we need to go across this concertina wire. So I was thinking, I didn't lose my faculty at all. continue to think right, but I'm trying to find out how to get back there, get to my unit with this individual. So I told him, let me get my field jacket off, put him over this concertina wire, and see if we could roll over and get on down away from this danger area, because they were hitting the top side of the hill with mortar. And so when we got out away from that concertina wire, we found a little hole, a definite precision. So I told Joe, I said, Joe, you're too heavy. I need to go get some help to get you out of here. So he agreed. I said, let me apply a tourniquet on you so that you could be okay. So he took his belt off, and I put a tourniquet on his leg. And that stopped the bleeding for a while. And I said, okay, every 15 minutes or so, or even before that, loosen it up and tighten it up again. I left, and as I left him there, I said, Joe, you hold on, I'll be right back. I'll get some help. I looked down at this valley, and then this thing is way down there. And then across was a rice dike, and I had to negotiate a mountain on top of me to get to my unit. So before I left, I looked up and I said, Lord, help me to this valley. Get me through this valley so I can get some help. I left. I went down to the base of that hill. I got shot out of my right leg, and then I fell down to the right on the dike. I got up and continued my move toward the hill where the friendly forces are located. So I got on top of this hill. I got on the other side of that valley, and then I look up at this hill, and it's so high. There was no grass to grasp on because they were all burnt from the bullet and all that stuff, from being fired upon. So I slowly crawl up that hill. About midway up, somebody threw a hand grenade down on me. They thought perhaps that I was one of the enemy. And so I kept hollering, friendly, friendly, friendly. As I got up further, they were trying to clear a password from me. The password for that evening was hang snow. And I forgot the password. I couldn't think of anything else but snow. I'm supposed to say Hank, and they're supposed to say snow, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I said snow first. And they told me to advance to be recognized. I couldn't move up so quick because I'm still crawling. Both feet were wounded. And
you were shot in your back, right?
So, yeah.
You had been shot in your back as
yes,
well,
and
both of your legs?
On the back of my legs,
mm-hmm.
and both legs. I got about 17 pieces of shrapnel on from hand grenade and all that stuff. And then as I got across, went up close enough to be recognized, I heard someone say, "Don't shoot. This is friendly. That's a friendly force returning from patrol." And the highlight of this story is, and I know it's a miracle, because when I look up, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Moon is full, shining right into the helmet of that chaplain, and I could see the cross on that helmet. And he said to me, "Come up, my son. You're safe. Come up." They sent some help to get me to him. As I got to him, I said, "Father, Joe is on this side of the hill." I got him in that position, and they said, "We got it. We saw it. We got him on We got him on the Metascope. It's infrared device where they can look, and I said, you see, or rather, he saw me the scope, and I said, oh, that's Joe. He said, yeah, they're picking him up already. That'll give me the satisfaction. I said, thank God. So they took me to the aid station. I went to I guess they call it mass in those days. It was the mass as we do it on TV. And anyway, I went in there and I got treated. And I went back to about a week later. I could walk, and so I went back to see if I could see Joe and all that. Joe had been taken to the U.S. to the hospital in the state. What's the name of that hospital? They take him to this where all the wounded comes in there. The heavy wounds were received at that Army Medical Center.
I'm not sure.
And anyway, they told me that he's there. They disengaged his foot and all that. And I did not get to hear from Joe, but anyway, I was reassigned. I had an assignment to go to KMAC, to the Korean Military Advisory Group, and give me my combat infantry badge, my infantry badge, and my Purple Heart. And then he told me, he says, Manny, they put you in for a Silver Star, but they're going to hold that up. They're going to push it up to Distinguished Service Cross. I said, okay. He said, all you got to do is wait. Don't do anything because it's forthcoming. I'm still waiting. So I made a call to General Rogers before he passed, and General Rogers told me the same information I gave you before, that I had to go to Fort Hood. I didn't get a chance to do that. I heard that General Rogers had passed away in the following year. So I just quit my pursuing, and I was thinking of going to see General Ordeno, the new Chief of Staff, but then that's not going to help me. I was thinking of writing to the President of the United States, but that's not going to help me because I have to use the channel. Mm-hmm. I have to use the different representative of the state, like Mr. Carter here, or John Corn and stuff like that. But and I didn't use that. I figured I was told to wait, so I'll wait, and I'm waiting. So as of yet, I still haven't got my awards. And then in my assignment in Korea, the last tour in in Vietnam, I was doing a Sergeant Major's precision. I was the Sergeant Major of the installation, and I did that for 7 months. And I was informed that I am on the lineup for promotion to E9. Again, that never did happen. So that's why I was looking for my 201 file, so I could probably hang across with that one for you.
So you're still today waiting for those? Are you still waiting for your awards today?
On the promotion, if I didn't get it, I thought maybe I'll just completely lose that, but I figure that if I send it in through the right chain, they're going to find out why didn't I get promoted.
So before your enlistment, had you heard of Korea before?
Yes.
What did you know about it?
I knew that there was a war warming up over there in that place. Mm-hmm. We were being warned about that in basic training.
Mm-hmm. So you weren't sure whether or not you were going to be deployed to Korea or not, though?
No, I didn't know where I was going until I got to that leadership course in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. When I returned to Fort Ord, they told me I was going to Korea. And when I went to Korea, I didn't know where I was.
Mm-hmm. You didn't know where Korea was at all?
I didn't know what Korea.
Yeah.
And
so what was your initial thought then, whenever you found out, okay, boys, we're going to Korea? What was your thought?
Well, Really, because I was a young man during the Second World War, when my home was invaded by the Japanese. I was 9 years old, and then we were concentrated camp for 3 years. As a 9, 10, 11, I was under the Japanese occupation, POW, like a POW thing, concentration camp. My whole family. I lost my dad there during that war. And I'm so used to this business, this. I guess when I joined the Army, I figured this is the job I know.
And that's why you decided to enlist?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was were you nervous whenever you found out you're going to Korea? I mean, were you nervous at all?
No, well, yeah, you'd be lying if you say you didn't. I was nervous. I already had stripes in my sleeves, so I cannot show that I am nervous. I keep a smile on my face everywhere I go. And somebody told me, said, "Do you ever worry about it?" I said, "Yeah, what's the use? We're going to do it. It's a job to be done. Let's do it."
So what was your first impression whenever you landed in Korea?
Say again?
What was your impression whenever you landed in Korea?
The country's in bad shape. It was really broken down by the North, by the Chinese. And seeing the people still crossing the line, crossing border lines and all that, going like prisoners too, because they're lining up, going looking for food and all that stuff. Oh my God! It takes me back to my days when I was in the Japanese War, in the concentration camp. It took me back in those days, and it just kind of gave me a little. It's a little cheering for me because it's a little bit better than what it was. So, what I visualized, what I envisioned doing is improve the look, improve the people. Find out who is who, find out who is on the north side, and that's it. When you find out who is your friendly force, help those people. That's why I went to KMAG, the Korean Military Advisory Group. I went there because of what little Japanese I learned, what little Japanese language I picked up during the Second World War. And they asked me, do I speak any Japanese? I said, very little. They asked me about time. I said, I gave them the time, I gave them this. Okay, you pass. So I became a KMAG. But the good thing about the KMAG is that I had an interpreter who speaks English and passes the word that I want passed out to the troops.
How did the war impact you on your marriage?
It really helped me a lot because the only bad portion about that is that I woke up at midnight dreaming about somebody shooting at me, jumping up, trying to get across on the other side of the bunker, and I jump off the bed. My wife said, "Boy, you look like you were crazy." I guess I was dreaming, honey.
How did you meet your wife?
How did I what?
How did you meet your wife?
Oh, we went to the school together.
Oh, okay.
She was a lower grade, lower class, and I was going to high school and she was going to the elementary portion.
So you did 3 tours. Have you been back to Korea since then?
Since the war?
You said you served 3
tours.
tours.
3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. So you've been back?
No, not since then. But I've met a lot of people that came from over there, here. The organization that we belong, the Korean Military Advice, this Korean organization that we have, I make quite a few people that come from Korea. And when they found out who I was and where I was, they came up and shook hands with me and thanked me for the service and all that stuff. And I said, well, thank you very much for noticing all that.
So let me ask you a question here. I need your opinion. In 2013, we witnessed the 60th anniversary of the signing of the armistice between China, North Korea, and the UN on 7/27. There is no other war in modern history that has lasted 60 years after an official ceasefire. What do you think that we need to do to put a closure on it?
Question. Something permanent should happen, really, because we shouldn't have any more war. But, ever since the beginning of the Bible, there's war, and I know there's going to be more war forthcoming. The people seem to, even now, even today, as you get up in the morning and you put on the radio or the TV, you see something new that's going on. And when they kill people, they don't kill him by 2, 3, 4, they kill him by hundreds. And I said to myself, what is going on in the world today? And in your question there, I think that would be the most difficult thing to answer to me. I like to see permanent in Korea. I don't like to see that North and South angling together like that. I think that they should be together. I don't know whether that would be possible, but because the communist is really strong, a strong influence with that in that side.
Yeah. So you would support a reunification of Korea?
Do I what?
For them to be reunited as one?
I
you would
would
support it if it was possible?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So why do you think that the Korean War is often referred to as the Forgotten War?
Another good question. I guess I felt some of that because when I came home, there wasn't any music to welcome us, no parade for us, nothing planned to get this unit assembled and give him a memorial type affairs for some of the activity that they had gone through. That's something that's one. And I love parade. I love to see parade for military because it shows me that they're happy when they're marching troops. And I like to march. That's what I used to do. I trained troops to march, and I like to see it. Yes, it's a forgotten war in those days because really they don't know how. They don't know how to take care. They don't know how to make the troops happier at that time than what they already know. Because they didn't know as much as we do now. That right now we're opening all kinds of leeway to make it more enjoyable, more joinable, like I rejoin or join the group or enlarge the group. Right now you have all that because you can see some of the evidence that improves the activity, improve the country. I like to see. I know that the South Korean needs real good help. If they can unify that, that'd be nice. Because I tell you, they're too close for comfort.
Yeah.
I've been on the 38th parallel. I've been up on the high ground of the 38th parallel. I'm looking this way, I see Chinese. I'm looking that way, Chinese. I'm looking behind me, I see Chinese. All around me, around that hill is the borderline. And if anything should happen, we're sitting right in the border. And so, yes, I like to see the unified get together on it.
Yeah. Whenever you returned home from your rotation, did you speak about the Korean War to your family? Did you talk about your experience?
No, very, very few times that I do that. I do that, and I welcome the opportunity. When I was a commander of the American Legion, I welcome the opportunity to be invited to the school and talk to the student. I talk to the student in all level, young and old. And I pick up my 32 decorations and I put them on the table lined up. And they lined up from here to there, all my medals that I have earned. And they look at it and say, oh, where did you get this? And I tell them all about what it means and all that. They said, oh, sir, that's the first time I've seen this. That's what you need to do. You need to show these kids those things.
Right.
You need to show these kids what do you do when you get an award for this thing? What kind of award do you get? Do you get money? Or do you get any type of medal? Sometimes it combines, sometimes money and medal. And mostly medal because we're being paid anyway.
Right. The Korean War during the time was called a police action. It wasn't really considered a war. Why do you think it was a police action? Why did they want to call it a war?
Coming down that valley from trying to get this wounded man down is not a police action. Mm-hmm. That's combat mission.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as police there. It's combat. They called it police action probably because, again, our diplomatics and politicians, mm-hmm. they want to make it sound like, oh, don't worry about it, this is just a police thing. We will call it off whenever we can. That didn't happen. We went in there and got it so hot that it's so hard to get out. Even Nixon tried to get outside of there, he couldn't get outside. Once you get involved in that kind of stuff, killing one another is not an easy thing to disengage. It's more, you need to be unified more before you can get yourself wanted to do,
Do you have any messages or anything that you would want to share with younger generations that you feel that they should know? Do you think it's important that they know what happened in Korea and the sacrifices that were made?
Yes. About the only thing that I can say, that one, if you're in the military and you're going over there as a military man, first of all, make sure you know your policies, mm-hmm. make sure you know your regulations, and comply with it, and also know your limitation as to where you should go and how you should do it. Maintain, understand the countries, the different countries' standard SOP, they call SOP, mm-hmm. the procedures, so that if in case they're at off limit at 12, make sure that our people know that at 12 o'clock we shouldn't be there. Those are the things that we should get ourselves involved in. We must understand what we're there for, and but we need to learn to be friendly. We need not to be hostile with anyone, whatever, for what it's worth. Because if I get a copy of this thing that you guys are doing, and I look at it and I can see some of my friends, I could call my friends out and renew our camaraderie. Mm-hmm. I can start camaraderie with my friends again. And I really enjoy reading some of the magazines because I get a chance to see some of the areas I have been. I just haven't seen any of the people that I know because they're too old already, I guess. I'm 82, oh God, I was 18 years old when I was coming through there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
I was 118 pounds. Coming down that valley, I was about 122 pounds. Oh God, I can jump. Phew. They say, hey, get on over there and do this thing right now. I said, how high, how fast you want it?
Yep.
I'll do it. But now it's totally different. I have to look back at the learn from the young.